Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a video. Haven't had a lot of cash laying around to do a new cosplay. But today I'm going to do a video on something that's a little different, but maybe it'll help you guys with your cosplays. I'm not sure, depends on what it is. But recently I've been doing geocaching. If you don't know what that is, you can go to geocaching.com. I'll put a link in the description. And basically what it is, there's a community online, and so they'll give you some GPS coordinates. I use my phone, and you navigate to the coordinates, and sometimes there's a little clue, and you can find like a little container. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's really well camouflaged. There's one that looked like a piece of gum that I found the other day, which was not actual gum, but it makes you think twice before you snatch it. And inside is just a piece of paper. You sign your name, put the date, and then you put it back for someone else to use. So that's really all there is to it. Someone asked me, well, did you get a prize or an award? Well, not really. But sometimes there's cool little things in the caches that you can trade. You know, I found a $2 bill, and then I put, something that's of equal value back in there. And it's just kind of a fun thing. It's especially good for kids. So now that I have found quite a few geocaches, I'm working on doing one geocache every day for 100 days. I wanted to try and make a geocache, and I happened to find this wooden stump. And you're like, good for you, you found a wooden stump. It was in my apartment community was doing some landscaping, and they just kind of left this out. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if I could cut the top off, hollow it out, and then make that a geocache? So I'm just going to go through what I've done with it, and I'm going to kind of cut together a whole bunch of different videos, because this is going to probably take quite a while. And I don't really have any power tools. We'll see how that goes. So kind of crafty related, sort of like cosplay is. I'm more into the props with cosplay anyway. So the first thing to do was to try to cut the top off, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't cut too small of an amount, because you can see it's a pretty big stump, so there'd be plenty of space inside even if I cut a large amount. And I didn't have a saw or anything, but I was able to cut it. Alright, and it came out really nicely. So what I did was I went to the Home Depot, and in the aisle with the molding section, they have hand saws. So yes, I stood in Home Depot for about 10 minutes sawing straight through this piece of wood, and it's not as easy as they make it look like on the lumberjack competitions. So that was the first step. So you can see this is going to be like kind of like a lid. And so this is what I have that I'm going to try to hollow out. Alright, so my plan is to use some of these screws and have them sticking out a little bit, and drill a hole in the top of the sort of the lid so that it can fit on there nicely and without twisting or turning. Okay, so that was the first part. The second part is I wanted to make sure that nobody could steal it if they thought it was cool, which would kind of be flattering really, but it's going to be a lot of work, so I'd rather they didn't steal it. So I bought this is vinyl coated wire. So it's a metal wire, sort of like the dog runs that you get at the pet store. So if you had one of those lying around, you could probably use that too. So I'm going to use this to connect the lid to the container, and also to connect the container to, I'm probably going to put this in a park, so probably connect it to like a tree or something like that. And I'm also planning to get camouflage duct tape to wrap around this so that it's not quite so obvious. So my first question was, well, how do I get this to stick together? Because if I just duct tape this, that's not going to stick together. Well, in the same aisle that you can get this and all the chain link and stuff, you can also get one of these. which, as you can see from the picture, you tighten it up and it makes a loop that apparently is pretty secure. So that's my plan. And now you're saying, well, what are you going to loop it to? Well, I bought these eyelets, okay? So I'm going to screw those in, put this through the eyelet, clamp the loop together, do the same thing on the inside of the container. So one on the lid, one on the container, link that, and then do one on the outside of the container and link it to the tree that I'm planning to put it in. I'm planning to put it in a park, so hopefully a lot of people can enjoy it. You may also be wondering, hey, how are you going to hollow out the inside there? This is a wood chisel. I've never used one before. I don't know what I'm doing. Should be fun. So one of the things in cosplay too is you just have to try it. So I'm gonna try this, see how it goes. Hopefully I don't hurt myself, but this is supposed to be pretty sharp from what I've read online. So I got kind of a big wood chisel, and I guess I take a hammer to that and try to hollow out this inside part here. So I will update with another video. I'll probably just link all the videos together so you can see it all in sequence, and also try to take some pictures along the way. So maybe I'll just do a quick slideshow for people who don't want to watch me talk the whole time. But anyway, so that is the wood stump geocache so far. We'll see how it turns out. I'll probably have to put a Ziploc bag or something in there too. If you're not familiar with geocaching, I almost guarantee that there are geocaches in your area. I live in the city of Miami, and there are tons all around me. They're in parks, they're in, you know, sidewalks and gas stations, and they're just all over the place. So you should check it out, even if you do, you know, just one or two, and then you say, blah, whatever, but maybe you'll like it. Okay, so first update on the wooden geocache. I still have it so that the top comes off, but I have so far added the screws so the top can come on and off as a lid, and I've hollowed out the inside. So let me show you what I've done. So you have to lift the lid straight up, because I have put some screws in. So I was able to find a power drill from a friend, and that let me screw in some drill some pilot holes, so it's easier to screw in the screws using just a regular old screwdriver. But you can see that they are sticking out slightly, and that is so that they can fit into the holes which I put on the bottom side of the lid right here. So I also did that with the power drill, but I made them a little larger so that they could go around the screws. And a lot of times on geocaches, you like to make sure that everybody knows it's an official geocache, and since I put a lot of work into this one, I wanted to make sure everybody knew who it was by. So this is actually done with a soldering iron, which you can also use for wood burning. So if you have a wood burning kit or soldering iron or something like that, I did the lettering, so official geocache, ChemGirl08. That's also my tag on geocaching.com. And we have the holes that fit on top for the lid, and that works pretty well. The other thing that I told you I was going to work on was using the wood chisel to hollow out the inside. That was probably the hardest part, but I've gotten it to a point where I'm pretty pleased with it. So you can see I can fit, you know, my whole hand in there. I was a little bit lucky in that there was a lot of termite damage to it, so those pieces were really easy to get out. You just have to be considerate of your neighbors if you live in an apartment complex like me. Make sure that you do it during normal hours. But really, as I predicted, you just bump, 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 bump. And the tip is not as sharp as I thought it was going to be, but it's a little sharp. I mean, if you did something like that, you'd hurt yourself. So be careful. As always, you should always be careful. So that is enough room for me to put a Ziploc baggie with a log sheet in it, or maybe a small booklet of logs for the log sheets. And we can put some other stuff in there as well. I have a geocaching dog tag. So this is, you can purchase this from the geocaching website. And I attached it to my little Buddha figurine here. And so you find this in geocache, and if the goal for this one is to go to Japan. Okay, so you put this in the cache, somebody finds it and they say, oh hey, I'm going on a flight to the UK, that'll be closer to Japan, so they take it and then they put it in the UK geocaches and stuff like that and so on. So that's going to be one of the things that I put in there once this is finished. So that's it so far. That was actually quite a bit of work to hollow out the inside, but like I said, I was lucky with the termite damage. If you have a piece of wood that you're doing this to that is solid, you may need some kind of better tool than that. I'm not sure, maybe it's some kind of a drill press or something like that, because the parts of this that were solid, that were not termite damaged, were much more difficult to do the removal of the inside. So that's it so far. And I also need to try and get permission from the park that I'm going to put it in. That's one of the rules of geocaching. You don't just march up and put it on somebody's property. And yeah, start the submission process. I'm pretty close to finishing it, and it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The worst thing was that when I saw there were termites in it, if you didn't know, termites like to fly at nighttime. They grow wings, they leave the nest, and I guess they look for a new place. So I've been keeping this in my bathroom because it's the most contained, and I got some pretty gross termite wings in my sink. I guess they're attracted to the moisture, but I guess that's my problem. Hopefully you won't have that problem. So that's the update for now, and I'll be back with another update. Hey YouTubers, this is my final update on the geocache that I've been working on for quite a while now. So here you can see the final product, right? Oops. See, we've got some issues here that I'll talk about. So the first thing was I wanted to make sure that the lid, like nobody could lose it. So I found this, these ties at the hardware store. So these have to go, inside correctly in order to completely close the cache. There we go. That looks a little better, right? See, oh, is it a stump on the side of the road? Is it? I don't know. Now the inside, I had to hollow out quite a bit, so you can see I can stick my hand in there pretty comfortably. I was really getting pretty lazy about it because I couldn't fit everything in, but I was like, oh, it's so hard, I don't want to do it. So before you start this project or anything like it, keep in mind it sucks. It's I also have another set of that steel cable. So this is the same thing as what I did for the lid, but I did it for the cable, and this is so that nobody can steal it. So I'm gonna hook up the opposite end to like a tree or something, and I covered it with camouflage duct tape. If you're a geocacher, that's a good thing to invest in, because you can just cover it with there's all kinds of things you can use, little prescription bottles, or you can find all kinds of little containers that you don't have to pay for, that you just have laying around, and you just slap some camo tape on there, and then you can make a nice geocache, as long as you can find a good spot for it, because a lot of places around here are full. So the last part of the geocache is to put the goodies in. So I've got a travel tag Buddha. Okay. So he goes on in there. This is the FTF prize. So the first to find can have this wooden cat that I had lying around. Sorry. But it's always nice to get an FTF prize. The honor of getting a first to find is pretty awesome in the first place. So I haven't gotten one yet, but this is the FTF prize. And then finally I need the log, and I really ought to get a pen in there with this. Get a pen. There you go, pen. And that way people can write their names in a log or notes. I got a pretty big log so that people can write notes in it. So I put this one in a Ziploc baggie because this is really the only part that I don't want to get wet. The rest of it, if it gets wet, should be okay. It is wood, so I'm hoping that it doesn't, you know, permeate too much. But it is something you have to pay attention to when you're making a cache. So now it's all packed up. This part, again, a little tricky. So again, a little tricky to put on. I wish I could have found a better mechanism, but I think people will be smart enough to figure out how it goes together. So you can see it's a little full, so it's got a little, you know, I might try and pack it better a little later. But so this is the finished product, and hopefully if you see it sitting on the side of the trail, you wouldn't bother with it unless you knew what it was. So I have a date scheduled to put it out at one of the local universities. They have a nature trail, and I said, hey, it'd be great if I could put my geocache there. It's at least 0.1 miles away from any other geocache, which is one of the rules when you place it. So make sure you read the rules before you place any geocaches. They have a long list of things you can and can't do. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this information about geocaching, and again, you can go to the website and learn more. Maybe you sign up, find a couple caches in your area. Right now I am doing the 100 caches, one cache every day, and I'm at 90. So I've only got 10 more to go. I'm pretty excited. I didn't think I'd get past like 20, let alone get all the way up here. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.